Good afternoon, fellow treble winners. How are you doing today, you beautiful, wonderful people? Manchester City, of course, aren't in action this week due to the boring old international break. No one cares about international break. Yet, here we are going through it anyway. So, of course, this is the kind of time when all the transfer rumours start to kick off. So I thought I'd jump on and have a little bit of chat about the transfer rumours, because what else is there to talk about, if we're being honest? I did put rumours in the video title for a reason, you know. I'm not going to pretend this is solid gold information, but it's interesting information because it's been brought to you by an actual friend of mine, actually, a fellow I know called Tommy, who's an in-the-know guy. And of course, as the title suggested, those two midfielders are Florian Wirtz and Lucas Paqueta. Just sold my car. Yeah, we could be interested in signing them according to the reports. There's also reports about Leroy Sané today and so much many more things. But I'll get onto the big screen now and show you the rumour. This comes from basically a guy who's in the know of the world of Manchester City Football Club. And he tweeted out earlier, City have established the asking price for Florian Wirtz is 87.5 million. Very specific, lower than expected. Could suggest a cheeky buyout clause special. And City have recently watched him again and aren't being scared off by Bayern Munich interest, which is very interesting. He also followed that up saying Wirtz would be in addition to Paqueta. City planning to recruit two midfielders next summer, which makes you, it brings you a lot of questions immediately, you know. Why would we want two midfielders? The thing is, I would guess the reason we want two midfielders is because we expect a couple of midfielders to leave. I think it really is as simple as that, unfortunately. I do think there is something in the idea of City trying to revamp the midfield. I do think there's something in the idea of big names coming potentially, and I do think there is something in these names, you know. Will it happen? I don't know. Do I want it to happen? Yes. If Florian Wirtz came in, he would obviously be the long-term successor, potentially to a Kevin De Bruyne or something like that. Florian Wirtz is very much a young Kevin De Bruyne in terms of the way he plays and so on. He has that style. He has that elegance. A wonderful player with loads of talent. A natural creator. A fantastic footballer. He's absolutely balling right now for Leverkusen, of course, top of the Bundesliga. It would be wonderful stuff. I mean, he's such a mercurial talent. Only 20 years old. He'll be 21 at the end of the season. He's already had plenty of football for Leverkusen. I think this is his fifth season or something in football. And he started the season off excellently for them as well. Look, he's a cracking player, Florian Wirtz, and I would love to see him in a Manchester City shirt. That rumoured fee, I mean, 87.5 million. I would not be surprised if a player of his calibre at that age does have a release clause. I mean, that would be nice, wouldn't it? A release clause around 87.5 million. Very affordable in today's market, and a special talent, and one that would come in and immediately, I think, fit into the Manchester City mould. Young still, of course, and we know 80 million talents from Bundesliga aren't guaranteed to fit in and be great. Kai Havertz, anyone. It's no guarantee. Jadon Sancho. But the Manchester City do the Bundesliga thing pretty well, don't we? Ilkay Gundogan, Leroy Sané, Erling Haaland, Vincent Kompany, Nigel de Jong, Edin Dzeko. There's probably more that I can't think of right now top of my head. But either way, City do City do the Bundesliga very well because we're well run and we buy players that we need. So I think there's something potentially in this, and I would love to see him at Manchester City. And as Iptra said in the chat, he's got that KDB-esque through ball, and he's one of the closest replacements you would likely to see. In terms of Lucas Paqueta, well, look, I would love Paqueta at Manchester City Football Club. I obviously am aware of the potential circumstances around him. I'm hoping that he'll get cleared of that because I think he's really good. When I look at the players that we got, and I think Nunes and Kovacic are good players, but Paqueta was probably the one after Bellingham, you know, after Declan Rice, was probably the one that I wanted. Paqueta absolutely taking off this season. I think his form that he showed towards the second half of the season last year for West Ham, as they went on to win the Europa Conference League, is definitely now carrying on and kicking on this season. And he's been that guy. He's been the main man for West Ham. And Paqueta, he sort of blurs the lines perfectly between number 6, number 8, and number 10. He's exactly what we need. And if we're going to try and replace Bernardo Silva, and sadly I do think the idea of Paqueta would be to replace Bernardo Silva. Look, Bernardo signed a new contract, but only for a year or two extension with the rumours of a £50 million release clause. To me, that was always a kind of golden handshake. Thank you for staying. If anyone comes in, this is the agreed price. We respect it. You can go. I think if he comes in, it's because Bernardo would have left. But what do I think we get if Paqueta comes in? Look, Bernardo Silva is a one-off genius level footballer. We cannot replace him. We cannot replace him. as Guardiola once said about Aguero. We really cannot replace Bernardo Silva. But can Paqueta come in and offer a lot of the attributes that Bernardo Silva does? Yes, I think he can. Not maybe to the same level, but maybe in the long term, potentially. I don't know. But what you get in Paqueta, potentially, is that hard-working, aggressive, like, he's got the dog in him. He really is. He's an absolute warrior. In the way that Bernardo Silva is, he has that Brazilian close control. Technically excellent. He can dribble out of tight spaces. A little bit like Bernardo. The guy's got a mean left foot as well. He's capable of playing beautiful through balls. He can ping it in from distance and score goals. Bernardo can do all those things as well. And obviously a very different player. Not a winger like Bernardo potentially can be. But would he come in and offer a link between defence, midfield and attack? Absolutely. Absolutely. I would love to see Paqueta come into this midfield. So when you got Paqueta potentially replacing Bernardo, and maybe Calvin Phillips goes as well, so we need the numbers there. Florian Wirtz would come in and be an option when alternatively to De Bruyne potentially, if Alvarez once again back as a striker, occasionally playing in the midfielder too. Like, I see where these potentially fit in, and obviously it's just once again a transfer in the know, but I do trust Tommy to have interested parties in this and know every now and then who City are linked to. There's of course the link as well earlier on about Leroy Sané, which once again does strike me as sort of it does strike me as transfer window stuff during the kind of like the international break. It comes from Christian Falk, ahead of football over at Sport Bild in Germany, and he said our story, City is like Liverpool, interested in the transfer of Leroy Sané in the summer of 2024. Yeah, well, I mean, I think I would love that. Leroy coming back, I mean, that would make me beyond happy. I think Leroy's a phenomenal player, and Leroy Sané, you know, in a Manchester City shirt again. Oh, just make it happen, someone. Like, Leroy Sané, I think he's developed an awful lot. Like, if you got Paqueta, Wirtz and Sané, I would be very happy with those additions to this Manchester City squad. I mean, look, the rumours are going to come thick and fast from here until the end of the season. And we know, because of Rice, because of Bellingham, because of other players that have moved on, there is many things that can happen between a player being linked and between a player signing a contract. There's no guarantee whatsoever that this can happen. But I do hope, and I do... when am I doing that? I thought it was being gate crashed in by the family. There we go. There's the stairs down there. You wonder what I'm looking at. But I do think these are potential realistic targets, particularly the two midfielders. Sané maybe not, though I do love Leroy. Get him home, bring him home. But I would love it. When do you think Bernardo will leave? Potentially this summer if someone comes in for him, Lee. 50 million release clause apparently. Look, it'd be a shame. Kovacic and Nunes. I think Kovacic was one for 30 million. They thought, you know what, he's a good player. He'll come in. He'll be in numbers for us. He'll fit in. I think Nunes takes a bit of time. I actually do trust if Nunes hangs around with the quality that he's got, he will adapt and become a really good player. I've got no doubt to that. I think he's going to take a little bit of time though. When I watch Nunes, I see talent, but I see, as a Manchester City player, I see potential, not necessarily the finished product, which is wild for the money that we paid for him, of course, but that is the Manchester City way. You know, you have to learn the system. You have to learn how to do it. And I do think he has the talent. Just being a talented City player is different to being a talented footballer. It's a very different thing. So I do think, look, I could imagine a scenario where you've got options of Rodri, Paqueta, Nunes, you know, as a central three, and then you've got ahead of them potentially Alvarez or Wirtz, De Bruyne. You know, you can see where all these potentially fit in together because we are facing, I guess, the end of De Bruyne in a couple of years' time. We do have to start planning for it. And if someone like Florian Wirtz is available, look, Wirtz, he's such an excellent footballer. You don't want to lose a generational talent like him. I would be excited to see him come in because, you know, Wirtz is special. He is a special footballer. 87.5 million is a lot of money, but when you've got someone that special, you have to sort of sometimes take advantage of it. I would love it. I mean, I'll sort of try and build a squad right now over here. Ignore the colour red. Let me get rid of that red. You know, like imagine if certain players left. You had a squad, something like this for next season. I'll just say the defenders are the same because I don't know who's going to go. You know, Eddie, Ortega, over here still, and then Ake. Then you've got over here, you've got Diaz, you've got Stones, Akanji. Then over here, you've still got Walk and Rico as the options. Then I think the options still would be, I mean, if you start to build this squad as a as midfielders and so on. I'm going to put Alvarez more as a striker again. You can start to see where, if these players came in, where it all worked. You'd have Jack. Look, if Sané came in, it'd be dream-worthy, wouldn't it? Because you'd have this. You'd have Phil and Sané there. I mean, imagine that. It'd be wonderful. And over here, you'd have KDB and Wirtz as the options. And over here, this would be, I don't know. That would be Paqueta, cover, and then it'd be this, wouldn't it? And this would be, I don't know, Rodri, Nunes, or something like that. Maybe it'd be this, actually. It'd be Paqueta, Nunes, and this would be Rodri and cover. I mean, that would be ridiculous, wouldn't it? I mean, it's not going to happen. I mean, maybe it wasn't Phil. It'd be Sané, it'd be Bob. I would love that. I would love it. I love Sané, by the way, and I think he's grown a lot as a person. I think he loves this club. That's never going to happen, but this is my dream scenario, man. I would love it. I would absolutely love it. I mean, you got to dream, haven't you, every now and then? It'd be wonderful. I think it's just contract stuff. I don't think Leroy's going to come home. I think, he's got what he wants out of that, and I think he's more or less happy. So I think what it is. Of course, there will always be rumours going around the transfer window. Of course, it could be that Rico Lewis makes his debut tonight. I've heard a rumour that he will do, actually. I think Rico will probably come on as a substitute. And I think Rico Lewis will make his debut tonight, which is great stuff. Rico could also develop as an 8 in time that maybe we don't need them. But I trust this City side tomorrow. Sorry, he'll play tomorrow. Yeah, I think it's tomorrow even. He'll come on tomorrow, I reckon, Rico Lewis, and make his England debut at 18 years old. That will only help his development. Of course, it will. I can do some international coverage if you want me to. I don't tend to do it on this channel, but do let me know. This is just a quick video to chat about, these rumours. I can also do a video as well about the revenues. I've been meaning to do that if you want me to. But I just wanted to keep the content going a little bit. Guys, please like this video, subscribe. I'm going to go for a walk with the family while there's no Manchester City games, But it's nice to chat to you guys about something else, other than a match preview, a match reaction, or whatever, even if it's just transfer rumours. But I will do an England reaction if you want me to. I'll do a reaction to Rico's debut tomorrow, which will happen, I'm almost certain. Guys, thanks for watching this. Let me know what you think about Florian Wirtz, Paqueta. Of course, watch my 5 things learned from the other day. Head to esteemedkomapny.com for loads of pieces over there, of course. And check out the socials on Esteemed Komapny on Facebook, on Twitter, and Instagram, all the usual places. For now, though, thanks for watching. You're all superstars. Paqueta, Wirtz, Sané. Sign them up, City.